Howling Zinogre, or in Japanese, Kiwami Hoeru Jinoga, is one of the first Peerless quest monsters to be released over Monster Hunter Frontier's lifespan. Peerless, or Muso quests, were event-exclusive quests that pit you against the extreme individual version of a monster. Muso quests have a 20-minute and a 10-minute version, commonly called Lesser Slay or Repel, and True Slay accordingly. In a True Slay, monster stats are adjusted to give you significantly less wiggle room for success for an already brutal hunt, in exchange for greater event item payouts. This series will be using footage from Lesser Slays / Repels, with an emphasis on learning monster attacks and ways to deal with them, and maybe show hunters unfamiliar with Frontier what I do and don't find appealing about these experiences. As these fights are intentionally brutal knowledge checks, there will be AoEs, there will be one-shots that cart you through guts, and there will be attacks you just gotta sit down and figure out exactly how your weapon should respond to for both safety and damage. With that out of the way, let's begin. Howling Zinogre always opens with this sequence right here. Uppercut, slam, AoE roll. You'll know you've gotten close enough when the sparks move toward you. When they stop, he's about to appear in front of you mid-uppercut. Dodge, parry, or guard the uppercut and slam when he appears, and you'll be free to either leave the AoE of the roar, or you can sheath and dive through it as he starts it for a consistent, better punish. The roar will one-shot you if you mistime the dive though, so make sure you're on point. As a Zinogre, this guy keeps several of the staples Zinogre usually has. The double projectile throw, claw slams, back flop, and hip check are all here. He also has this step back uppercut and this small headbutt. He also has a new spin you'll need to be on the lookout for, with it being one of his main counters to bad positioning. But what is bad positioning? For one, try not to be close behind him when he spins. Weapons that only have a roll may not be able to escape this situation at all, and it may be difficult for those who have more. 2. Try not to be hugging his front too closely. You need a little space between you two to roll forward through this safely. Let's start with the Thunderdome. When you see Zinogre shake like this, he's getting ready to start this 3-step one-shot. If any step hits you, you're getting carted. If you leave the ring, you're safe, but Muso quest monsters are built for you to take every damage opportunity you can, possibly resulting in timing out if you're not aggressive enough with an expected level of gear. So let's stay in and learn. First, stay in front of him, and time your first 2 evades to when he lands after each jump. These 2 jumps are blockable as well. The third, however, requires either a Lance's power guard or iframes timed to when he raises his head and starts the final roar. This move is dangerous, but a big damage opportunity once you learn how to effectively dodge and attack during it. Next, his dashes. He loves to use these if his target is ever far away, and he has 2 variations with 2 branches each to check that you're paying attention. A fast dash into either an uppercut or a slam then uppercut. The cue to dodge is right after the sparks stop, just like the intro move. He also has a slow wind-up dash that he'll do twice, leaving AoEs behind that strike with a delay. As he travels, the sparks are a hitbox, so you'll either need to run to the side in time, or iframe it as he passes. He can choose to do a slam out of the second dash, but there's enough time to dodge as if he'll dash past you, and dodge again and just be fine if he does choose to slam. This takes us to his rock waves. He'll jump back from his target's position and slam the ground, shooting waves of rock along once or twice. He then chains this into one of his previous dash options. Ideally, you can either iframe the waves, or if you're far enough back, you can just wait in the blind spot to his front and wait for his dash. Do note that if one of the waves connect, you will be juggled. Finally, the AoE Roar. He starts this the same way Exotic Zinogre does, jumping backward and spinning as the bugs highlight the affected area. You can outrun it or dive through it. Once he does 3 roars, his supercharged state activates, enhancing his claw slams and activating what I call the Fulgurbug defense system. The Fulgurbug defense system is simple. If you're in the air near him, as a Tonfa, dual blades, heavy bowgun, or magnet spike user, and you're not currently in iframes, you'll get zapped. Keep that in mind if you're playing an affected weapon. So that's everything independently, but that's not how any actual fight works. So let's talk about the mental stack and break down these mix-ups. The mental stack is a fighting game term, used to reference how many things you're thinking about reacting to and doing at once, and the order in which you look at them. If you never feel ready for his next move, this is the section for you. At the top of the list, prioritize being towards his front if you can help it as a Blade Master. Being at his front without your camera buried in his body is important to see his tells and react accordingly. You can't see when an uppercut happens, that might be all it takes to cart you, even through guts. This means during his claw slams you should be sure to be moving away from him as you evade them, otherwise his body can block the camera before the next move. Which is dangerous when he has... How many options does he have from claw slams again? And he can vary which step he decides to mix it up. If he even mixes it up at all. Well... shit. This brings us to the second priority. Understanding the basics. If you're having trouble reacting, watch what claw he leads the claw slam combo. It's on his right, he can do moves other than another normal claw slam as a follow-up immediately, including the tailspin. If he doesn't mix up at step 2, he still can at step 3, but it will not be the tailspin. If he leads with his left, the second step is guaranteed to be a non-delayed claw slam, and spin isn't an option. So now you can focus on recognizing fewer options. From there, it's all reading the tells in time with good enough positioning. I'd also lump looking for hip check into tailspin, or just tailspin, as well as step back uppercut into this tier, as a couple of any of these hitting you can mean stun with Thunderblight, if you even survive, and he loves just throwing these out. Third, the rock waves. These are a little bit slower than the basics, but if these catch you, they could cart you immediately. Fourth, the dashes. Sometimes he'll decide he wants to do these a bit closer, but most times he won't go for them without you being far away. Fifth, the Thunderdome and the AoE Roar. I know it's weird to have both of the guaranteed one-shots at the bottom of the mental stack, but the reality is, these both start slowly enough that unless you overcommit, you'll have the time to react. You don't need to be focused on them until they're happening. With the mental stack covered, there's nothing left but to learn how your individual weapon deals best with things. The process can be long, difficult, and frustrating. But with enough prep, enough knowledge, enough determination, you too can experience becoming peerless.